Elves? In this meta? Okay. Hello and welcome back. And today I am going old school. I am playing traditional combo elves. This is an archetype that basically fell out of the meta with the printing of Orcish Bowmasters, which honestly basically just solos this deck. So I'm going to try something crazy and see if I can either avoid Orcish Bowmasters or work my way around it and see if the little green men can hang in today's meta. So if you're unfamiliar with this version of Elves because you're newer to Legacy and didn't play before the printing of Orcish Bowmasters, essentially what this is a creature storm deck which is looking to churn through the deck with the help of Glimpse of Nature to draw your cards and cheap elves that accelerate on mana so that you can have the mana to be able to just keep going every time you play your creatures with the form of Heritage Druid and Nettle Sentinel to be able to create a ton of mana, Birchlore Rangers and Carrion Ranger to be able to create mana and untap creatures as well to be able to reuse them again, and Wirewood Symbiote to be able to pick up your elves to be able to replay them to keep the chain going. We also have Allosaurus Shepherd in the deck, which makes it so that your spells can't be countered because everything you're casting is green, and also gives us a mana sink to be able to make our little 1/1 elves into 5/5 dinosaurs to be able to overrun the opponent. What you want to do is, as you're churning through your deck, you're generating a ton of mana. You're either going to naturally find your finisher in the form of Craterhoof Behemoth to be able to drop it onto the board and overrun your opponent, or have enough mana to be able to Green Sun Zenith or Natural Order to be able to find it. Additionally, we do have a one of Atraxa as another tutor target just to be able to refuel if your chain fizzles, or to be able to try to stabilize if a Craterhoof isn't going to be able to finish off the game, to be able to just act as a large blocker that can close out the game pretty quickly on its own, but also just allow you to gain some life and kind of try to stabilize the board a bit. We also have a relatively new addition in this deck, which is kind of the tech to try to get around Orcish Bowmasters in the form of Eladrami Corvicdoll, and this will allow you to play creatures off the top of your deck, so it kind of acts as a pseudo Glimpse of Nature that doesn't actually draw you cards, assuming you're able to keep hitting creatures off the top of your deck. Unfortunately, it does mean you are at the mercy of the top of your deck, and if you just start hitting lands and you don't have a way to shuffle them away with some fetch lands or something, you kind of don't get the same effect as a Glimpse of Nature, where you're just going to draw to be able to keep going and you are at the mercy of the top of your deck. It also does have a kind of cool little ability down there at the bottom where you can pay a green, tap it, and tap two other untapped creatures to kind of do a pseudo show and tell off the top of your deck. So this is a way to be able to cheat in an Atraxa or a Craterhoof Behemoth if it's on the top of your deck and Eladrami is not summoning sick. So it's kind of a backup to our Green Sun Zenith and our Natural Orders. So we're going to see if this little tech here is able to negate the downside of Orcish Bowmasters basically being able to solo this deck. The deck is just mono green. There are some bayous for some black splashes in our sideboard, but other than that, Dryad Arbors act as lands, and they also help toward Gaia's Cradle. Gaia's Cradle, just a ton of mana in a deck that is looking to just absolutely flood the board with cheap little creatures. Bunch of fetch lands, couple of forests, and just a Boseiju to be able to remove problematic permanents such as Caracas from the opponent that can bounce your Atraxa, or being able to get rid of something like a Grafdigger's Cage or a Deafening Silence or something like that. The sideboard here, you can see we are 100% afraid of and respecting Orcish Bowmasters. Dismember and Gut Shot, so that we have multiple 1 or 0 mana ways to be able to kill a Bowmasters if it hits the board. That is the single most terrifying card to this deck, is Orcish Bowmasters. And as I stated, the printing of that card is what caused this version of Elves to basically just get eradicated from the format. In addition to that, we've got some Thoughtseizes to be able to strip our opponent's hand up against combo decks, Leyline of the Void to respect all the graveyard decks that are in the meta, Mindbreak Trap for the Mystic Forge or any kind of storm-based combos, and then Collector Oof to be able to shut down any kind of artifact-based decks. Like I said, Mystic Forge, stuff like that. So Can Elves hang in the current meta with the printing of Orcish Bowmasters? I'm skeptical, but we're going to give it a try. We're playing for nostalgia today. We're going to see if what the little green men were in the past still can hang in the current legacy meta despite all the hate that's out there. So let's take this through a league, see how we do, and I'll catch you all in the wrap up. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. Alright, round one, won the die roll. Let's see if we can elves out in this economy here. This isn't bad. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. We're going to start off with the Once Upon a Time to try to find some more creatures, probably into Wirewood Symbiote so that we can protect our elves. And we can start doing some kind of crazy stuff with Heritage Druid and Glimpse of Nature. So let's cast the Once Upon a Time. I like Nettle Sentinel a lot. We are going to take that. Play a Misty. The jig's up. They already know we're elves as soon as they see Nettle Sentinel. So hopefully we don't just get turned one by an opponent here. And we're going to start off with Wirewood Symbiote and pass the turn. There's something to be said about maybe we should have let off with one of the elves, but we'll see. Cavern of Souls from the opponent, so this could be a Stompy style deck. Human. Alright, yeah, I'm leaning toward initiative here. Or this could be like Hate Bear's Death and Taxes. Ew, Chalice on 1. So I need to find a, whatchamacallit, a Allosaurus Shepherd, and I need to find it fast. Alright, come on, Allosaurus Shepherd off at the top. Let's go. Natural Order. Okay, that's actually interesting. Based off of what I'm seeing here, they shouldn't have much in the terms of removal. And then next turn, we actually can cast Natural Order, assuming that this Wirewood Symbiote stays on the battlefield. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab a Dryad Arbor off of this, because the Dryad Arbor actually counts for 2 mana with Gaia's Cradle. And then we're probably going to natural... Okay, so it's white initiative of some sort? Okay. We will Natural Order to go grab an Atraxa. Solitude is very much something they could have, which is going to greatly fuck up our plan. But we'll see. We will grab Dryad Arbor. And they pass the turn to us. Well, Crater of Behemoth is in hand now, so I guess that doesn't super matter. Okay, so we drew Crater of Behemoth. That means we can't Natural Order for it anyways, but I don't think we were going to. So we'll play Gaia's Cradle, tap our Dryad Arbor, tap Gaia's Cradle, Natural Order away the Dryad Arbor. I don't think we're going to see counter magic out of our opponent here. And then we will get an Atraxa. If they Solitude this, at least it reloads our hand and gives us a shot of finding an Allosaurus Shepherd to get around this Chalice of the Void. Okay, and they do have the Solitude, but that gets rid of 2 cards out of their hand, and one of them was a Sheltered by Ghosts. And this does pad our life total a bit. I cared more about drawing cards off of this than anything. This was not a very good hand, if we're being completely honest here. So I think we grab a fetch land, a creature, and we grab another Natural Order, and we might just have to try to Natural Order for an Allosaurus Shepherd, as shitty as that is. So we'll do that. We played our land for turn. We will get in. That was a very bad Dryad Arbor. Or a very bad Atraxa, I'm not going to lie. But it bought us some time. Our opponent is a little low on resources. They didn't have more fast mana to do anything here. But this is looking like it's mono-white initiative. I'm mostly scared of a soul land into a Seasoned Dungeoneer. Or, alternatively, if they had an Archon of a Myriad, that really screws us too. It's also going to feel really bad to Natural Order. Well, there's a Soul Land. It's going to feel really bad to Natural Order for a Allosaurus Shepherd. I'm not going to lie. Okay, the One Ring. We can deal with that. That's mostly fine. Is it bad? Yes. Is it the end of the world? No. Into a Lotus Petal. Passes the turn. 2 cards in hand. They will have 5 next turn. Allosaurus Shepherd? No. Verdant Catacombs. I think this will give us enough mana to be able to go grab an Allosaurus Shepherd if we play the Dryad Arbor, because that'll be 2 mana plus a land drop, gives us 4 mana. Go grab Allosaurus Shepherd. I think we want to save that for next turn when we have some more mana available. So we'll play Dryad Arbor. We will pass the turn, no point in attacking. I could just send a message, but this also gives us the ability to possibly just naturally draw into one as well. We realistically need like 2 turns here, but an active One Ring is very problematic. If they just drop some initiative dork and pass the turn, that's not terrible. I am mostly concerned about removal or an Archon of Emeria at this point. Elite Spellbinder, that can take our natural order and set us back. We really need to just hit whatchamacallit here. Just the Allosaurus Shepherd off of the top, or a Green Sun Zenith to go find it. I'm assuming that, yeah, they take the natural order. They've still got 3 mana. Oh, and they have an Archon of Emeria? I don't think we can beat that. Yeah, we can't beat the Archon of Emeria. We just hit, like, absolute shit off of that Atraxa. If we hit differently, I think we would have had a shot. But we'll just go to the next game. 100% want Dismembers and Thought Seizes. There's something to be said about Collector Roof to shut down some of their fast mana and shut down the One Ring, so I think that's not terrible either. I think we're going to trim some of our less efficient mana dorks. And then what else would we want to trim here? I think trim a Wirewood Symbiote and 1 Elvish Visionary. Bring in the Thoughtseize and the Dismembers, tear their hand apart, kill problematic permanents, shut off stuff like the One Ring. Let's try something like that. That was just a really bad luck off of the Atraxa trigger, I think. Alright, let's get a better start this time. No mana, otherwise this would be fucking great, so we gotta ship it. Triple natural order, Heritage Druid, Glimpse of Nature. I think we gotta go deeper than this. This hand doesn't do anything and it's too slow. Okay, this we can keep. I think we put back Dryad Arbor and the natural order for now. We're gonna keep this. Dryad Arbor goes back, and we're gonna trust we can find another natural order later. Opponent is mulliganing quite deep as well. So worst case scenario, next turn, we could just kind of try to Glimpse of Nature, see where it gets us, or we can just play a redundant Allosaurus Shepherd. This is also nice that I can get around a Chalice of the Void and a removal spell since I've got 2 Shepherds. But we're relying pretty hard on this Glimpse of Nature on the top of our deck at this point. Well, we will start off on Forest into an Allosaurus Shepherd and pass the turn. Hopefully they just mulligan deep as hell for a Chalice of the Void, and this just completely ruin their hand. If they have like a turn 1 initiative creature, that's problematic. They are bolting that in. Okay, they had a removal spell. Luckily, we have another Allosaurus Shepherd. We hit an Eladomri, okay. So we could just value Glimpse here to try to get a little bit deeper into our deck. I'm debating if that's worth it. I think we're just going to play out the Allosaurus Shepherd. Hope they don't have another removal spell. And then hopefully we'll hit a cheap elf off the top of our deck. I could go grab Dryad Arbor with this just in case I hit a whatchamacallit. Gaia's Cradle. Oh, is this going to be an Archon? God damn it. Okay. So we need to hit a Dismember here shortly. We will fetch. I think we are going to grab the Dryad Arbor just in case we hit a Gaia's Cradle. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because it enters the battlefield tapped anyways. Natural Order. Alright, yield through the turn. Yeah, this card is just brutal against us, unfortunately. But hopefully that's all they have and the rest of their hand is just fluff. Missing a land there was kind of brutal too. Ugh, Anna Sheltered by Ghosts. Goes after the Shepherd. Makes sense. I mean, we can't do anything, so we'll just pass the turn. They're either missing land drops or trying to save their mana to be able to drop a 4-drop. Luckily, we can pay for Ward if we find a Dismember. Alright, unfortunately, Bayou enters tapped. Next turn, we can play an Eladomri, or if we hit a untapped mana source, we could natural order for Atraxa. Alright, opponent's getting. Another Witch Blast Meadow. I'm assuming that means they're playing a 4-drop now. Yes. They bolted that in. Is this going to be a One Ring? Is this going to be a Seasoned Dungeoneer? The One Ring. Okay. So again, mildly problematic, but I guess not the end of the world. I would very much like an untapped mana source here. Just basic forest off of the top gives us a shot. It at least lets us refuel. Beseju. So We can either play Beseju or we can blow up the Shelter by Ghosts to get our Allosaurus Shepherd back, but that doesn't actually do anything at the moment. So I think we're better off playing the Beseju. We will play Eladomri. And we got a Bayou coming next turn. This gives us 2 creatures. So if they do remove Eladomri, we can still natural order. If they remove Dryad Arbor, we can't. They're going to have 6 cards, which is the problem. We'll see. Hopefully they're just hitting the fluff part of their deck, and it's just a bunch of lands and mana. Alright, opponent's getting in. Our life total is getting a little wonky here, unfortunately. Take our damage. Another land, okay. Oh! Okay, well, they're going to need natural order, which is now going to cost 2 more. And we know our next draw is pretty much just dead. Yep, name's natural order. We can block the Anointed Peacekeeper with the Eladomri, though. And there's a Craterhoof Behemoth on top. We actually can flip Hoof into play with this. Or no, we can't, because we need 2 other untapped creatures. That is absolutely fucking brutal. Is there anything we can do here? I don't think so. Like, we just gotta pass the turn, hope that they swing with the Anointed Peacekeeper. Which I don't think they're going to. I think this one is lost. We had some bad running. Like, that game 1 Atraxa trigger was just absolutely awful. Because, yeah, they're going to have 8 cards now. They're not going to attack with the Anointed Peacekeeper. I guarantee it. Like, basically our hope is that there's a cheap elf on top, followed by Atraxa after that. That's really our only hope for this game at this point. Play another land from the opponent. Okay. If they attack with the Peacekeeper, I guarantee you it means they have another one. Alright, well, they're getting in. This is probably incorrect, but this is the only way that I see us getting out of this game at this point. I'm sure this means they have another one or something else to tax this natural order. Alright, well, we got a Anointed Peacekeeper off the battlefield. Do they have another one? Pro-Mox, okay. A Solitude to get rid of our Dryad Arbor also completely ruins this. And puts us to dead on board if they have it. Alright, so far nothing. They could also be doing this in our upkeep. Yep, that's game. They were just waiting for our upkeep. Good game, opponent. Alright, let's see if we can pull this together in the next round. Alright, on the draw. I actually like this. We'll keep. We can start out with Allosaurus Shepherd on 1. This Dryad Arbor is a little awkward. I'd like to draw an actual land, but we got 2 turns to be able to do it. Into a Marsh Flats. Okay. So, white or black is the question. Cabal Therapy in the blind. Okay. I highly doubt they name anything in our hand. Grim Monolith. Okay, interesting name, opponent. Well, we will ship the turn. Green Sun Zenith. Let's... I'm a little worried about them stripping these Allosaurus Shepherds out of our hand, but I think we need to go ahead and ramp here. So that we have 2 actual mana next turn. Granted, the absolute worst case scenario here is going to be removal spell plus wasteland. But I mean, I guess if they take both of our Allosaurus Shepherds, so be it. A Orcish Bowmasters to kill this, and then Cabal Therapying away our Allosaurus Shepherds is also extremely brutal. Arid Mason from the opponent, instantly cracks it. So this is probably Mardu Energy? Yes, I'm seeing Mardu colors here. A Johnny. Okay, so they can instantly flip a Johnny. Probably going to take out my Allosaurus Shepherds by sacrificing the Cabal Therapy? Yes. Okay. They don't have a red permanent yet. They're going to name Allosaurus Shepherd. It's just a guaranteed 2-fer, so... Yep, Allosaurus Shepherd. I would like an untapped land. And they uptick to go get a Cat Warrior. Okay, that is an untapped land. We can play Eladomri here. Or we can run out our Sentinels and our Druid. I think we're going to do the Eladomri. Let's grab a Forest. Play this. So next turn, hopefully, we can go off. Okay, Allosaurus Shepherd on top. I like that. We'll pass the turn. And hopefully they can't interact with this and we kind of just get to pop off here. Okay. Another Cabal Therapy. So they can strip our hand here. And then we're at the mercy of the top of our deck. Taking the Heritage Druid. Are they going to flash it back to take the Nettle Sentinel is the question. Wasteland, okay. Do they go after the Arbor or the Bite? Oh my god. Our opponents just have everything today. God damn. Okay. Well, I know I'm hitting an Allosaurus Shepherd, so we're just gonna play out our hand. Well, Dryad Arbor, Nettle Sentinel, Allosaurus Shepherd. We are just hitting like nightmare matchups today, and we haven't even seen an Orcish Bowmasters yet. We can just F6 through the turn. Shadowy Backstreet to Surveil. I'd like to see them just... Nope, they kept whatever was on top. I was about to say, I'd love to see them just bin something. And a Voice of Victory, okay. Like, we're definitely not in a good spot, because this Voice of Victory is also going to allow them to ping something down next turn, because they're going to have the tokens from the Voice of Victory attacking. We could kill this, but we're not going to. Not even super sure. Okay, there's a Glimpse. I guess we just pass the turn and hope we can somehow chain this Glimpse together. We're not going to bother getting in. Because when they attack with the Voice, they'll have red permanents. They can then zero this to kill something. We're just going to take our beats. We don't really have a choice here, unfortunately. They do have a Cabal Therapy in the yard. And, I mean, we'll block a token just to save a little bit of life here. Not that it really matters. And now it's just, do they want to go face? Do they want to kill one of our creatures? What are they going to target? Are they going to kill a creature? Are they just going to go face? Because this is almost dead if they go face. Going after the Nettle Sentinel, okay. We need a hell of a series of rips here. And the first thing we need is a creature. That's a Birchlore Rangers. And if they're sitting on a Orcish Bowmasters, we're kind of just screwed here. So we need a hell of a series of rips here off of this Glimpse of Nature. And it's a land, and we're dead. Okay. Alright. Let's see if we can run into some decks that aren't just absolutely poised to destroy what we're doing here. I think we want the Gut Shots. Dismembers seem pretty good. I'm debating if I want the Thought Seizes. I'm going to put those in the maybe pile here. I think we're going to probably trim the Corian Rangers. Like I said, maybe just trim some of our worst mana acceleration. I'm also very scared of Orcish Bowmasters, so maybe take out... maybe we take out all the Elvish Visionaries and bring in some discard to go with them. I'm very scared of Orcish Bowmasters out of our opponent's deck. So let's try something like that. Alright, let's pull this together. No mana, cannot keep it. Instant mulligan. We would be relying very heavily on this Once Upon a Time to find us some mana. I think we're going to keep this. Let's bin the redundant Glimpse of Nature. And then we are banking very heavily on this Once Upon a Time to find us some mana. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Alright. The sad guy is Cradle. Okay, so, I mean, this was a risky keep, but the chances of us hitting actual mana off of that Once Upon a Time are actually pretty high. So it was a risky keep, and they just wasteland our guy's Cradle. Okay, so we need mana off of the top, or we need another Once Upon a Time to find mana. Okay, that is mana. We are going to grab a Forest, play a Nettle Sentinel, pass the turn, and then we might just value Glimpse here if we hit something we can do. Assuming they don't just have another fucking removal spell. Okay, well, Thoughtseize are probably going to take the Glimpse of Nature then. But we have something on board at least now. Yep, took the Glimpse. That's fine, I guess. Wait, don't get me wrong. I still don't like where we're at. Okay, there's a Gaia's Cradle. We are going to go ahead and get in. We just need an engine now. Cast the Birchlore Rangers. Untap the Nettle Sentinel. Play a Gaia's Cradle. And now we have removal open as well. So they're not exactly incentivized to play creatures at the moment. But I very much need an engine now. Arid Mesa from the opponent. Cracking the Mesa. Into a Plateau. Into a Orcish Bowmasters. Well, we're just gonna go ahead and gut shot that. We could fizzle this by dismembering it, but we'll let them get their token. Like I said, we still need an engine off of the top somehow. Okay, I don't hate Wirewood Symbiote. That can protect our Nettle Sentinel if we need it to. Like, there's something to be said about hanging on to it in case we draw another Glimpse, but I want to be able to protect this Nettle Sentinel, and we need bodies on the battlefield if we draw a natural order. Martial Arts from the opponent. Cabal Therapy. So they know about the Dismember. We might as well just kill this, unfortunately. Like, just fizzle this Cabal therapy, get the body off the battlefield so if they have a Goblin Bombardment, they can't just chuck it. Passing the turn, or passing phases to burn the mana off. Cracking their March Flats. Another Orcish Bowmasters, okay. Yep, kills a Wirewood Symbiote. Nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. A Windswept Heath. Unfortunately, I think we're just on defense here. We can go grab a Dryad Arbor off of this. Amped Raptor. What do they hit off of the Amped Raptor? And a Johnny. And they can flip it? Like, they're going to be able to flip the Johnny, kill our Nettle. Okay, yeah, we're just done here. Our opponent had absolutely fucking everything. Alright. Come on, let's rally. Let's show that Elves actually can do something in this meta. Alright, let's rally back. One the die roll. Okay, I like this hand. We're going to go ahead and keep this. Start out with a Verdant, go grab a basic, and we are going to drop Nettle Sentinel. And then next turn, we are going to see if we can kind of pop off here. Misty from the opponent. So hopefully that means they're not some kind of combo deck. Underground Sea. Personal Tutor. Okay, so they're on Doomsday. So counter magic is a thing. Lotus Petal. They're setting up to Doomsday next turn. The question is going to be, can they Doomsday and go off? Dryad Arbor. Okay, well, let's get in with Nettle Sentinel. Hit them there. Play a Misty. Crack the Misty. Let's grab another basic. Start with a Glimpse of Nature. Always yield. Always yes. Play a Heritage Druid. Elvish Visionary. Okay. That can do some stuff next turn. I like that. The question just becomes can they go off and do their pile in the same turn here? Yep, there's Doomsday. Can they go off this turn or do I get a turn is the question. Because if they can't go off and they don't have counter magic, we can actually probably kill them next turn by natural ordering. But we will see what is left in their library after they make their pile, or if they're able to just go off this turn. Alright, let's see if there's anything crazy in this version. Ooh, Misdirection. Interesting. It's a Quantum Riddler build, okay. One Thassa's Oracle is in... Okay, can they actually go off is the question. 1 Force of Will, 2 Force of Will, 3 Force of Will. All their forces are gone. Do they have the mana to go off? With a Lion's Eye Diamond, I'm assuming so. Their hand's probably just Cycler, Cycler, Cycler. Misdirection is interesting. Yeah, they got it here. If they're doing this, it's just going to be cycle into cycle into cycle, and they had a turn 2 win. Okay. That's unfortunate, but if we had one more turn, we would have been able to get it. But that's Doomsday for you. So what are we going to do against Doomsday? I think we want Thoughtseizes in. I don't think we actually really care about anything else. And I think we're going to take out some number of Curian Rangers. Actually, I might just take all the Curian Rangers and take out 1 Birchlore Rangers. And probably try that. Alright, let's see if we can just not get turn 2'd by the opponent this time. This hand does basically nothing. We need to mulligan it. Alright, this hand is much better. We will keep this. Do we want to put back the Green Sun Zenith? I think we do. I think we want our mana under us here. So we are going to start off with Windswept Heath into Bayou into Thoughtseize. Doomsday, Doomsday, Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal. So, I mean, do we take a Doomsday and hope that we can do the thing? Or do we start taking Lotus Petals to try to slow down the Doomsday? I think we take Lotus Petals here. Like, this will hopefully slow them down from being able to Doomsday and go off in the same turn. They play Scalding Tarn, play Lotus Petal, pass the turn. Well, we hit another Thoughtseize. That would have been nice. They have 1 unknown in hand. I think it feels weird, but I think we have to let them Doomsday and hope that this can get us somewhere. Let's grab another Bayou. We apparently should have taken the Doomsday, but there was no way to know that they were going to go ahead and... Or we were going to draw a Thoughtseize. I think we're just going to play Elvish Visionary here and hope that this draws us into something good. And then we play Druid Nettle Sentinel next turn. Alright, Boseiju is interesting at least. They crack their Scalding Tarn, get an Undercity Sewers. We could screw up the mana in their pile by besieging away a land after they Doomsday. They bend an Underground Sea. So they can just like play Flooded Strand, play Doomsday, but they're still gonna have enough mana even if we besiege you. Because we know about the land in their hand. Oh, they just have a Dark Ritual to go off too. Do they have the cantrip to start their pile? Oh, it's a Sholdred. Interesting. Okay, so they're not even going for the Doomsday. They're just gonna try to kill us with Sholdred. Into another Elvish Visionary. Well, we are going to see how crazy we can go here. We are going to take some damage, unfortunately. We are going to tap our Elves. Play an Elvish Visionary, take some damage. Always yield. Always yes. We draw an Eladamri. We can't do anything with our mana at the moment, so let's play the land. And I guess we'll pass the turn and hope that by playing off the top of our deck, we can get through this. Well, there goes our Eladamri. Jesus Christ. Our opponents just have fucking everything today. I think we basically need to hit Natural Order off the top of our deck. Alright, they're not even getting in. Okay. We hit a Once Upon a Time. Okay. I mean, that's something, I guess. We'll play Once Upon a Time. Untap the Nettle Sentinel. That's fine. Oh, there goes a Natural Order, unfortunately. So, like, we know what their hand is, so there's no point in Thought Seizing here, honestly. So we're just going to play the Allosaurus Shepherd. Like, there's a possibility where if we hit a Gaia's Cradle off of the top, we could overrun them to win. Because they're at exactly 20. They've only got one blocker. They hit another land. So if we hit a Gaia's Cradle, we actually can just overrun to kill them. We hit a Wooded Foothills. That's not exactly what I want here, but we'll play it. And then we'll just pass the turn. We're slowly bleeding out to the Shouldered, but we know what their whole hand is, so we know they don't have counter magic at the moment, so there is still a shot. A Natural Order gets us there as well. Like, maybe there's something to say about I should have just gone ahead and like activated this and tried to swing in with something just to present some kind of pressure, but all right, they're going to Doomsday. They have one unknown card in hand, so they don't. Well, they could have the mana to be able to brainstorm into a pile and go off. That is possible. All right, they made their pile. Anything else interesting in here? No, it looks like Shouldered was a one of. I do not see their Lion's Eye Diamond, so there's a possibility that they're about to just pop off here. There's Cavern of Souls. Sphinx. Is this Quantum Riddler? It is. Can they go off from here? Probably. There's Lion's Eye Diamond. Yeah, they got it from here. They're going to crack their Lion's Eye Diamond, or Cyclo Street Wraith, crack their Lion's Eye Diamond to get their mana. Yeah, they got this one. Our opponents just got everything today. Let's see if we can at least get 2 wins on the board and get half of our play points back. Alright, let's rally. 1, the die roll. Give me a good opening hand deck. Gotta ship it. No lands. Alright, this has some stuff. The question is what do we want to put away here? I think because we have the Natural Order, we're going to put Eladamri back for now. And I think we're going to start out with Windswept Heath into a basic, into a Green Sun Zenith for 0 to go grab a Dryad Arbor, and pass the turn. We're just going to try to go for a super fast Natural Order, I think. Humidian Hatchery. Okay, so we're up against the Pox deck. Unfortunately, these decks are very good at 1-for-1 removal. However, we should be able to go wide enough that their removal gets taxed. They could also just Thought Seize us here and strip something out of our hand. Wow, Dark Ritual Pox? Orcish Bowmasters? Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, this is not our day today at all. What are they following this up with? Do they have a 1-mana spell to play? Do they have a Thought Seize to really put the rubbins in? No. Okay. Another Allosaurus Shepherd. Well, we are going to go ahead and Allosaurus Shepherd. I think we're just going to double Shepherd here. We could play Wirewood Symbiote, but I don't want to like bounce stuff back to our hand at this point. Polluted Delta from the opponent. Cracks the Delta. Into an Undercity Sewer. So Blue Pox? Opponent is on a brew, that's for sure. Alright, they've been to Swamp off of that. They're getting in with both. Am I willing to blow up this Bowmasters? I don't think so, not yet. We'll take the damage. And they're passing the turn. I really want to keep these on the battlefield just in case I get to the point where I can go ahead and like natural order if I had drawn a whatchamacallit here. A Gaia's Cradle. We will play out the Sentinel, play out the Wirewood Symbiote. This is going to give us some protection for our creatures. We can get in for 2 with the Allosaurus Shepherds. And now I've got a good block up against the Orcish Bowmasters. I would just love a Gaia's Cradle or a whatchamacallit here, Heritage Druid. Want to play the Polluted Delta, tapping 2 mana. Long goodbye on the Wirewood Symbiote. Okay. Does that mean they have a removal spell for something else then? Like I said, anything that can accelerate our mana toward this natural order, I would absolutely love. I mean, technically Dryad Arbor does do that. We're just going to pass the turn. We're 1 mana away from being able to natural order, and they haven't played any discard yet. A Smallpox here would be awful. Sinkhole, okay. That does set me back mana-wise, but it could be worse. There are much scarier 2 mana spells. We're still like 1 good draw away from just natural ordering here. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Play Heritage Druid. And now we're just going to Atraxa. Like, well, actually, no. So if we Craterhoof Behemoth, we will have 2 creatures untapped. Each one gets +5/+5. That's 9, 16 with Trample. If they have a removal spell, that doesn't do it. So I think we are going to go ahead and Atraxa here. And we are going to natural order away 1 of our Allosaurus Shepherds. Actually, I forgot that this is going to untap the Nettle Sentinel. I think this might actually do it then if I've got 3 attackers. Because everything's going to get +5/+5. They can remove 1. Everything has Trample. Yeah, I think we're just going to hoof them here. If they remove 1, we're still getting through with a bunch of damage. And they just let that resolve. So, I mean, we're just going to hoof them. Is 23 trample damage coming through? Did we finally manage to pick up a game win? Okay, we got a game win on the board finally. Alright, against what our opponent's doing, I feel like gut shots are going to be pretty big here. Take out the Orcish Bowmasters. Thoughtseize probably are pretty good. Unfortunately, I think we got to take the Elvish Visionaries out. Like, with Orcish Bowmasters, it's just way, way too risky. And then let's take out 2 Curian Rangers. We could try to get these Dismembers in too, but if they're playing a Pox style deck, like Dismember doesn't kill Hogak, whereas Gut Shot kills like basically everything else they're doing. Granted, they have blue, so I'm not 100% sure what they're doing here. But I think Thoughtseize is to strip their hand, and then Gut Shots to be able to take out an Orcish Bowmasters is probably good enough. So let's try that. Okay, I mean, this isn't bad. I think we're going to keep this. Like, we've got mana acceleration with all of this stuff. And to hopefully a quick natural order, but we'll see what our opponent does here. I kind of like the redundant Gaia's Cradles. Opponent bolt to 6. Starting off with the Immediate Hatchery again. I'm assuming this is a Thoughtseize? No, they just wanted to put a counter on it. Does that mean that they have a Smallpox? So, Dryad Arbor plays around Smallpox the best. Nettle Sentinel plays around Orcish Bowmasters the best. I think we're going to try to play around the Orcish Bowmasters. Play our Misty, crack it. We're going to go grab a basic forest. Play a Nettle Sentinel. This gives us the highest upside. I haven't done the math yet, but this might give us a turn 2 natural order. It's interesting that our opponent did this just to put a hatchery counter on that on turn 1. Like, typically you're going to want to save that. Is this a Smallpox? Alright, hand to Turok. What do we lose? We lose Gaia's Cradle and Birchlore Rangers. A little disappointing, but not the end of the world. It could have been a lot worse. And we hit a Bayou. We're going to go ahead and get in. Hit with Nettle Sentinel. Play a Nettle Sentinel. Always yield to this. Always yes. And then we're going to go ahead and play a Dryad Arbor to try to set up for a natural order next turn. Swamp from the opponent. Another Hymn to Torok. We're probably... Oh, no, we kept the natural order. Okay. I mean, if we hit a Gaia's Cradle off the top, or if we hit a Heritage Druid, we still can natural order next turn. They are also doing a lot of damage to themselves here. Okay, that's a Misty Rainforest. That doesn't quite do it, but it puts us 1 mana away. And we're going to attack with everything. Start pressuring them so that their Eumidian Hatchery comes at a real cost. Put them down to 10, pass the turn. I doubt this natural order is staying in our hand. But you never know. 3 mana for something. Untapping, okay. Not sure what they got going on over there. Withering Torment on the Dryad Arbor. Okay. Well, we're probably going to go grab our other Dryad Arbor then, just to pressure their life total. And this still allows us to natural order if we draw a Gaia's Cradle. Well, this is a little annoying that we're just not hitting anything. We did hit a green spell to be able to cast untap our Dryad or our Nettle Sentinels. But we're still back at the same point where it's like 1 mana if they don't have a way to discard our hand here, and we can get back in this. Dark Ritual. Long Goodbye on the Dryad Arbor. Okay. What else do they have that they wanted to ritual first? And there's the Smallpox. Okay. They got a bunch of blockers now. That's unfortunate. Do they have a Hogak to follow this up? Because if they do, then I... Oh, no, they don't. They're empty-handed. Okay. Into a Thoughtseize that does nothing. Okay. I mean, luckily we got a couple of turns, and they have to be pretty conservative when it comes to blocking if I can ever untap this Nettle Sentinel. Alright, get in for their 4, passing the turn. A Once Upon a Time that I cannot cast. Okay. Well, I think this one slipped away. But we'll see if we can get game 3. Still getting in with all 4. Ripples of Undeath. Okay, this is an interesting take on Pox. I will give them credit. And a Swamp. Okay. Well, we hit a Glimpse of Nature that doesn't do anything, but we want to untap our Nettle Sentinel so that we can get in so that they can't actually use Ripple's ability. So now they can't actually do Ripples or they die. Like, we can't do anything, so we're just going to go ahead and F6 through the turn. See what they mill off of the Ripples. A Swamp, a Hymn to Turok, and a Dark Ritual. They probably wouldn't want any of those anyways. Are they going to hold any back this time is the question. Yes, they are holding one back. Wirewood Symbiote. Okay. Well, we will get in with a Nettle Sentinel. I also just realized they boarded to more than 60 cards. Alright, they just took it. Interesting. So they have to hold 2 blockers back, or they need a removal spell or another creature to be able to block here. Alright, get in with 3. They're still holding back a blocker. Alright, so if I can untap Nettle Sentinel, I mean, that's a green spell. We're going to see if they have a removal spell. Both of our Dryad Arbors are gone, unfortunately, but we're doing this literally just to untap the Allosaurus Shepherd. And see if they got a removal spell. Or like an Orcish Bowmasters or something. Is the answer no? Holy shit, we put a match win on the board. Alright, let's see if we can get the last round. Alright, final round. Won the die roll. Let's go. Yeah, we'll keep this. This is pretty decent. This actually can get us up to a natural order pretty quickly. But we're going to start out with the Once Upon a Time. Do we want the Heritage Druid or do we want the Forest here is the question. I actually think we want the Heritage Druid. We'll play Bayou. Play Carrion Ranger. This should allow us to be able to drop Nettle Sentinel and Heritage Druid next turn. Even if we don't hit a land drop. Assuming they don't wasteland us. Okay, Bloodstained Mire from the opponent. Plateau. Ocelot Pride. Okay, so it's another energy deck. Luckily, we've got a pretty fast clock here. I think if we hit a land, we actually can natural order. Alright, so what do we do here? We play land, Heritage Druid, Nettle Sentinel, tap those 3, then we can Wirewood Symbiote, and then we can natural order next turn. I like that. Let's grab a basic, play Heritage Druid, play a Nettle Sentinel, activate this, play a Wirewood Symbiote. We will untap this. Do I have a way to make this work? So what? We can Carrion Ranger, bounce a Forest, untap this, and then we've got 2 mana, return an elf to our hand, go to... Yeah, I think this actually gets us where we want to go. Okay. So we are going to untap the Heritage Druid, bounce a Forest to our hand. We are going to untap Carrion Ranger, return Heritage Druid to our hand, replay Heritage Druid, and then I can tap Heritage Druid, Carrion Ranger, Nettle Sentinel. I can natural order for a Hoof, or I can natural order for an Atraxa to refuel my hand. The question is what do I want to get rid of? I think I want to get rid of the Wirewood Symbiote, as weird as that sounds. Untap that, yes. We will natural order, get Atraxa, refuel our hand. And what do we hit here? Okay, we want Glimpse of Nature, Nettle Sentinel, and a Verdant Catacombs. And then we shift the turn and hope they can't do anything too crazy on their turn too. And if they're going to remove anything, they're incentivized to remove the Atraxa. Okay, they can Wasteland or Bayou. We have another land. I'm not concerned about that. They can't Orcish Bowmasters us. The question is are they pure Boros or are they an Orzhov build as well? They're getting in with the Ocelot Pride. I think we're going to go ahead and block with the the Atraxa. They can get 1 life, lose their Ocelot Pride. Another Ocelot Pride. Okay, so they were just doing that to gain the life so that they can... Yeah, they Wasteland my Bayou, that's fine. They're doing this just to get a token, but I don't think it matters. And we hit an Elvish Visionary. Okay. I think we just go off from here. Always yield. And our opponent scoops it up when they see the natural order. Okay, cool. Finally taking down an energy deck. Against them, Gut Shots in, Dismembers in, and again, I think we just take out our worst mana ramp here. Take out the Carrion Rangers. Take out one... maybe we actually take out an Allosaurus Shepherd. They're not going to have counter magic. I actually think we're probably better off taking out Allosaurus Shepherds than Carrion Rangers now that I think about it. Because we could probably use the ramp more, but this is a payoff, so I still kind of want to keep 2. So what, keep 1 Carrion Ranger? Yeah, sideboarding with this deck is really weird. I'm very much not used to this. Like, I know I play a lot of combo decks, but Elves is such a weird one that has so much synergy and cares about his creature count so much. It's really, really weird to mulligan or sideboard with it. So let's try this and adjust if we go to a game 3. All right, what do we have here? We have some ramp. We have a Nettle Sentinel. But we don't really have anything to do with a lot of this. Like, we don't have an engine, but our mana's pretty solid, and we can ramp. I think we're going to keep this. Marsh Blast from the opponent, and a pass. I think we're just going to Green Sun for 0. Yeah, we're going to start out with a Green Sun for 0, ramp our mana, and then hopefully they don't have an Orcish Bowmasters, and we can kind of try to pop off with this Glimpse of Nature. Drop a Dryad Arbor, pass the turn. Crack the Marsh Flats. Are they getting a Surveil land? Yes. Elegant Parlor. Do they actually have black in their deck is the question. They kept whatever it was on top. Okay, they do have black in their deck. Orcish Bowmasters. The bane of our existence. Gaia's Cradle. That's interesting. I think we're going to play a Verdant. Play Wirewood Symbiote. Crack this for a basic. Play a Nettle Sentinel. Pass the turn. We have protection for our Nettle Sentinel now. Marsh Blast from the opponent. A Johnny. Do they have a way to sacrifice a creature? Does not look like it yet. Okay, they're just passing the turn. That's fine. Elvish Visionary. Okay, so we can try to go whole hog and say screw Bowmasters, or we can try to play it safe. This is a really weird spot to be in. Because, like, we can save the Nettle Sentinel with the Wirewood Symbiote. We're going to play the Cradle. Play Elvish Visionary and see what they do. See what they target with this. Alright, we hit a land. They're going after the Wirewood Symbiote. I guess we just have to let that happen. Like, we could have tried to go full in with the Glimpse of Nature, but I think we're gonna wait. That might have been a mistake on my part. I don't know. Like, Orcish Bowmasters can honestly kind of just solo this deck is the problem. Like, Bowmasters is exactly the reason why this deck virtually doesn't exist anymore. There's a few people that have been putting up some good results with it, but overall, Bowmasters does just absolutely destroy this fucking deck. There's a Wasteland. Okay. I wonder if that's what they put on top. Alright, with the Goblin Bombardment, we're dead. We gotta go to game 3. Like, we're just dead at that point. So we do know they are full on Mardu. Yeah, Bowmasters is the absolute bane of existence for this deck. And we already kind of brought in everything against it that we can at this point. We could bring in Thoughtseizes as well to try to discard it, but I think we just gotta run it back. Bringing in more Thoughtseizes is just gonna dilute the deck too much. Alright, let's see if we can pick up this last game. 2 Eladamris. We could turn... No, we can't turn 2 Eladamri. Eladamri is absolutely fantastic, though. I think we're going to keep this. Actually, we still can turn to Eladamri. We can Misty Rainforest, go grab a Dryad Arbor. Gaia's Crate. No, I guess that doesn't work. We will just go grab a basic. Start out with turn 1 Nettle Sentinel. I was about to say, this does give us a turn 2 Eladamri, but it doesn't either way we do it. It's still a turn 3 Eladamri. Caracas into a Guide of Souls. Okay, well, they've got an engine online. Gut Shot. Unfortunately, that does not kill Guide of Souls. We just play a Bayou, and I mean, it's a pretty free attack. We can get in. We don't need to play defense. And if they try to follow this up with a Ocelot Pride, we can Gut Shot the Ocelot Pride. We can Gut Shot a Orcish Bowmasters if that's what they're doing here. Unfortunately, Caracas does kind of check Eladamri. Silent Clearing, okay. Alright, they're getting in before doing anything. That's fine. That means they're not able to generate enough bodies to get enough energy to do anything with this. And it looks like they're just passing the turn. That very clearly shows they have an Orcish Bowmasters up. And we're just going to go ahead and cast the Eladamri, make them decide if they want a Bowmasters or if they want to bounce the Eladamri. Wirewood Symbiotes. Okay. Alright, they're just gonna bounce the Eladamri. That's fine. We can get in. We can still Gut Shot a 1 toughness creature they pop into play here. Okay, we can kill that. That's not a problem. They can get their energy. Alright, now the question becomes is, do we kill the Ocelot Pride or do we kill the Orcish Bowmasters? I think we have to kill the Bowmasters, unfortunately. I mean, we could kill the Bowmasters on our turn. Let them spend their energy, get their Guide of Souls trigger. I actually think we do need to Gut Shot the Ocelot Pride. And then we can dismember the Bowmasters. We're not drawing cards anytime soon anyways. We are doing quite a bit of damage to ourselves, but they also are tapped out of this. Okay, cast Wirewood Symbiote. Untap this. Yes, untap that. Tap some mana. Play Eladamri. There's a Glimpse of Nature on top of our deck. So we may or may not be able to do some stuff next turn. I don't think it's worth attacking with a Nettle Sentinel right now. We'll tax their mana with the Eladamri. Shadowy Backstreet. They put 1 card on top of their library, so they didn't bin whatever it was. Ugh, Static Prison? Hitting the Eladamri, okay. Into an Ajani to be able to grow their stuff more. Alright, so we can... They're gonna make their Orcish Bowmasters fly. We can go ahead and Natural Order, which unfortunately is probably our best bet here. I'm just trying to think of what we want to get. Like, I think we have to get... I think we have to get a Trax off of this Natural Order. And it's going to cost us all of our mana, unfortunately, but we need to Natural Order, get rid of Wirewood Symbiote, go grab our Atraxa, and hope this hits well. Alright, we've got... Okay, I like Gaia's Cradle. Gaia's Cradle, Nettle Sentinel, Glimpse of Nature? Alright, so we can. Can I block all of this? I will gain 7. I can play Gaia's Cradle this turn, play a Nettle Sentinel, or I can glimpse into Nettle Sentinel. I think I just have to hold and hope that they don't have a removal spell for this Atraxa and try to go off next turn. Because this Atraxa is going to gain us a bunch of life, assuming they don't have another Static Prison. Oh, right, they can bounce Atraxa. I'm just dead. Okay, that was a fuck up on my part. I completely forgot there was a Caracas there, and yeah, we're just dead as fuck. Okay, this is why you don't play elves in the current meta. But we will address all of that in the wrap up. Oh man, so that was a rough one, and we kind of saw why this deck dropped out of the meta with the printing of Orcish Bowmasters. It's very reliant on having a critical mass of spells and being able to draw through your deck to keep the chain going. And Orcish Bowmasters kind of just single handedly annihilated this style of elves out of the format, and we did see that today. Also, just the amount of removal and discard that is going around the format right now is just not good for a deck that is relying on small creatures, most of which only have 1 toughness. So it's just a really, really hostile meta for what this deck is trying to do. I do like the addition of Eladamri. It's a good way to be able to go through your deck if you don't have the Glimpse of Nature, or if there is an Orcish Bowmasters, but you're kind of at the mercy of the top of your deck. And we saw a few times we kind of just hit pockets of land. There were a few times during testing I really got to go off with it that you didn't see here. So I really do like it, and I think it is a meaningful upgrade to the deck. But overall, this archetype just is not really viable in today's meta. I give credit to the people that have been putting up some positive results with this deck lately, but I honestly think it's probably a combination of some diehard Elves players who just have a ton of experience and are much better with this deck than I am, and a bit of luck with their matchup lottery. But since I can't see what their matchups were and I just see that they put up 5-0s, I can't really verify that or not. But the deck was fun when we got to do the thing, just didn't really get to do the thing very often. Sideboard wise, I mean, we were pretty much just bringing in removal the whole time. You saw the one thing we were scared of was Orcish Bowmasters, and anytime that came down, we basically just couldn't win the game at that point. So, honestly, as weird as it sounds, I'd probably go up even more removal, and I honestly think that a black splash, like Elves of past have had, to be able to run things like Abrupt Decay, Fatal Push, stuff like that, just to increase the removal, to be able to take out Orcish Bowmasters. As we saw, we got absolutely wrecked by Archon of Emeria as well, which is another relatively new printing, and this is basically a storm adjacent deck. It's like Creature Storm, so that kind of card is also going to destroy you. So I'd say put a black splash in, bring in some more removal, specifically Abrupt Decays, maybe some Fatal Pushes instead of the Dismembers or something. But overall, I can't really recommend this deck. It is fun when it gets to do its thing, and if you're looking for just that old school pre-Modern Horizons legacy feel, this deck definitely does that, but it just cannot hang in the current meta for the most part unless you get pretty lucky with your draws and your matchups. But oh well, I'm here to just have some fun anyway, so I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing. I will catch you all in the next video. And as always, stay salty. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. There are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.